Hey guys, what's up? Storm4 here. So today we'll be talking about Quinn, Timbersaw, how he plays Timbersaw in the laning stage, what items he buy and which skill build he goes. So let's get started with it. So at the start of the laning stage, you need to skill Walling Death because you need to trade with the enemy. So in this case, Nisha has got the Flame Guard, so he wants to push the wave because he does not want to trade with Timbersaw again and again because the Walling Death has a very low cooldown and it does a lot of damage. It's a pure damage. So Ember Spirit kind of pushes the lane, which is kind of fine for the Timbersaw because he can now last it under the tower without getting right click from Nisha too much. So once you get your level 2, you need to skill your reactive armor, and with this you can kind of trade off with the enemy because you got the passive regen from the reactive armor and also the armor. And once you get the level 3, you need to skill another point in reactive armor. So you can see Quinn is trying to aggro the creeps because he wants to get the reactive armor the stack. This is how you play Timbersaw. You aggro the enemy and you make sure the creeps are hitting you because you want to get the reactive armor, so you get the HP regen from the reactive armor. And then also level 2 flame guard from Ember, you need to respect it. It does a lot of damage, so you might get yourself killed. So he does this and they do a nice cheeky play. Boxy died earlier, so he tips to the mid lane to steal the water run from Quinn, so Quinn doesn't get in, and Embers and Nisha gets a laning advantage. But this does not really affect Timbersaw because he's got the reactive armor and he's got more than enough mana to harass Nisha out of the lane. He's very low and he kind of bait Nisha into killing him, and he uses Fairy Fire, and Nisha actually ends up not popping his Fairy Fire and he ends up dying. This is a huge kill for Timbersaw. Now this creates a level advantage. When Timbersaw gets level 6 earlier than Ember Spirit, he has a kill threat on Ember, and this is very important. This skill is very important. I will show you in the next. So after the bottle, you need to go for some passive regen because you cannot heal your reactive armor more points because you're a mid hero and you need to farm a lot. You can't really heal the reactive armor in order to increase your farming speed, so you need to go for some passive regen like a Ring of Hell and then eventually end up making a Vanguard. But after the Ring of Hell, he ends up making an Arcane Boots, and I like his choice. He wants to go for the spam so he can have a mana to farm instead of going for a Vanguard. With Vanguard, you are basically tanky, but you don't get the resources to farm up a lot, and you want to farm as a hero because you want to scale. So Quinn is about to hit his level 6 now, and they kind of glimpse the way because they are going aggressive in the bot lane. Quinn gets 6. He can now play aggressive on Nisha and not worry about Nisha at all. Because this, you can see how aggressive, okay, you can see how much health it just took with one spam of Timber Chain and a Whirling Death. He took out like more than half of his HP with just that, and now Nisha has to play very careful. You can see he's using the Slide of Fist also to lash it, but Quinn gets the deny on it, and now that death is really hurting Nisha now because his leech has to rotate towards the mid lane just to keep his Amber Spirit alive, but which ends up as a mistake for this guy because Juggernaut dies in the top lane as the two support pressure the carry, and Leech is not in the lane to help him, and they get the kill on the healing ward because of this deep observe ward they have. They get the nice blast off and they get the kill on this Mickey. So this is kind of nice micro from this Quinn. Instead of, most people would send a courier here, but Quinn realizes that the enemy could be scouting for his Arcane Boots or his Vanguard. He sends his courier near the tower, which is kind of safe for him because the tower is pushed here. So, and then he ends up buying the Arcane Boots and he ends up microing the courier in a way that it does not get killed by the enemy if the enemy has a deep observe ward here. So they might end up killing him, which will delay his Arcane Boots and which is very much required for him to win the lane. So he can farm up very nicely. Notice how Quinn is watching the map. He is not immediately using his TP in the bot lane to defend the bot wave. Instead, he's thinking of just going towards the bot lane and trying to defend the tower. This rotation ends up getting a kill for him because they get a glimpse back on the Lich and they get a kill on this Lich, which is kind of nice. And now he's finished his Vanguard, so he can effectively farm the creeps. Another reason to go for the Vanguard is he does not want to skill more points in the reactive armor because reactive armor will only allow you to tank, but it won't help you to scale as a mid hero, and you want to scale as a mid hero, so you need to skill up your other two skill, which is the Timber Chain and the Whirling Death. And after level 3 Whirling Death at 5 minutes, he skills Timber Chain 2 points and the Chakram, of course. So at this point, Timbersaw is basically unkillable at 9 minutes. He's got 1500 health, 2 points in reactive armor, he's got a Vanguard, so the only way he dies is that he tries to 1v5 the enemy team and he goes very deep. And then once you get the Vanguard, you can go for this Soul Ring because Soul Ring is very abusive item with the Arcane Boots. if you try to use the soul ring while backpacking your arcane boots, you can effectively get 200 extra mana per cast of soul ring. So with this, you never really run out of mana, and this is the thing that pro players are abusing. And you can see he's pulling the wave also towards the rune because he wants to get the power rune. Darkseer, despite having a vanguard, is not able to tank this script, so he asks the Timbersaw to tank it, and he ends up tanking and gets most of the farm also. And this is the beauty of Timbersaw. You can farm the ancient crypts with this hero because you got pure damage, and pure damage goes through ancients. So once you get the soul ring, your next step is to go for the Kaya. The reason for the Kaya is because you are a very tanky hero now with the vanguard. You got the 2 points in reactive armor, you got the occult bracelet, which is another broken item on Timbersaw, I forgot to mention, because it gives you mana regen, it gives you health, it gives you all stats, your initial hero, you benefit from the damage, and it also gives you the 10% magic resistance, which is why the item looks broken to me, because the 10% magic resistance, like half the value of the glow of magic resistance. This is a free item. So the reason for the Kaya is because you get the spell amp, so all your spells do extra damage, and you're doing pure damage, so you're doing even more damage, and then you get the mana regen also. So with that, you're basically never out of mana. And then you rush for the Sanj, the Kaya and Sanj, because Sanj gives you a lot of HP. It gives you 340 HP something. It also amplifies your health regen. It benefits you from the reactive armor, and it also gives you the status resistance, so they can't stun you longer. So this basically makes you unkillable at this point. At 17 minutes, so after the Kaya and Sarge, you can either rush for an Octarine because you already have the Arcane Boots and the Vanguard, which you can disassemble and make Octarine in another 3000 gold. Or you can opt to make an item that gives you more control, like a Hex. Or you can go for some defensive item if you play against heroes that have Dispellable Silence, like Kyrat, Drow Ranger, Death Prophet. You can go to opt for Lotus, or if they have very good stuns and undispellable silences, then you can go for the PKB. But in this game, Quinn ends up making a Hex because there are very few disables that the Liquid have. They have only Sinister Gaze and the Lasso from the Bad Rider, and also the Chains, which Timbersaw doesn't really feel threatened by the Chains because he's very tanky. You can see this item build. This item build is basically built to tank him a lot. He's really unkillable with this build unless until he kinds of 1v5 the team. So I'll show you why Hex is so good, and this is kind of a mistake from Liquid on the side because they did not check the high ground cliff, which Gaming Gladiators had a very good high ground ward, so they could see these two guys. And I think because Zai is on the high ground, they get a glimpse of the techies here, so they think of killing these guys, but they did not realize that they were under a ward. Quinn gets a precast Hex on this Bad Rider, so they end up killing this Bad Rider very fast. You can see there's a precast Hex, you can see, and you can see how fast this team. You can see how fast that Bad Rider died. That's like 2k HP Bad Rider. So he ends up dying in like less than 3 seconds there. And this Hex pickup changes the fight for them completely. So there are two ways of using Hex. One is that you have your teammates that can jump on top of the target, so you use the Hex from a long distance. And the other way to use Hex is to wait for the enemy to jump into you and then you use the Hex. So this way your teammates can get the damage done in the 2.8 seconds that the Hex stun duration is. Otherwise the enemy gets away with your Hex usage and you feel very bad of your Hex. Make sure to realize if your teammates can jump on the target. If you have jumping heroes like Ember Spirit, Void Spirit, Storm Spirit, then you can use your Hex from a long distance. But if your heroes don't have the jumping target, then wait for the enemy to jump into you and then use your Hex. So this way the enemy initiation feels very bad for them to jumping in because you get the Hex. So after Hex, he went for the Shiva's Guard because it's a very good item. It makes you tanky, and it's a very good item against Juggernaut Healing Ward, against Brood Mother, Insatiable Hunger. And so they end up losing this fight because Liquid take the fight when the Metamorphosis is down, so it kind of ends up punishing them. And you can see this Timbersaw is not going in aggressively like that. He's keeping his distance. You can see they are trying to kill this Timbersaw and they are not able to do anything, and he still has the cheese with it. This kind of ends up losing the fight for them because Terrorblade did not have the Metamorphosis, and you can see the cheese pop up. He's back to full HP and they can't really kill this Timbersaw because and you can see the reactive armor is not completely charged up. Even though Quinn has been fighting a lot, you can see the reactive armor is not really charged up that much. And this Timbersaw is very tanky. They can't really kill this Timbersaw. You can see how he's trying to go away and he's trying to kill them but not able to do so. And he ends up tipping because he realizes there's no stun. It's a good play from Quinn. So eventually Quinn ends up making an Octarine purchase, which makes you even better hero now. You're very tanky. You get all the mana regen. You benefit from all the cooldown reduction because you're basically cooldown dependent hero, and your cooldowns are also very low, and this makes this hero so broken now. So eventually Quinn ends up making an overwhelming blink. So the blink allows him to do the hex initiation. So he can be like 1000 miles away and still get the hex initiation, which is very good to start the fight. So with that, we come to the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.